Do you remember that story in Luke's Gospel where Jesus healed 10 lepers? All 10. Amazing. Western medicine only started to heal lepers in the 1940s. And Jesus healed 10 of them. And then one of them, when he saw he was healed, came back, praising God in a loud voice. He threw himself at Jesus' feet and thanked him. And he was a Samaritan. Jesus asked, "Weren't all 10 cleansed? Where are the other 9? Has no one returned to give praise to God except this foreigner?" Then he said to him, "Rise and go. Your faith has made you well." 1 in 10 thanked Jesus for what he'd done. Just 1 in 10. I often ask the Lord to do things for me or for other people, but how often do I thank him when he answers these prayers? 1 in 10 times? I'm one of the organists at our church. Before I sit down to play on a Sunday, I ask the Lord to give me skill and to give me wisdom. How often do I thank him for giving me skill and wisdom? Because he does give them. Just enough for the occasion, not enough to make me a virtuoso. I'm still painfully aware of the blemishes, even though I know that few other people would notice them. But the Lord provided enough skill and wisdom. Just like he provided just enough manna every day to feed the nation of Israel in the desert. He provides for me, but how often do I thank him? Sorry, Lord. It wasn't actually that story in Luke that prompted this reflection. It was a few verses in Isiaih. I'll put them on screen and read them. It's not immediately obvious how they prompted this reflection, but bear with me, they did. God is speaking. "I foretold the former things long ago. My mouth announced them, and I made them known. Then suddenly I acted, and they came to pass. For I knew how stubborn you were. Your neck muscles were iron, your forehead was bronze. Therefore I told you these things long ago. Before they happened, I announced them to you, so that you couldn't say, 'My images brought them about. My wooden image and metal god ordained them.'" Let me read that again. "I foretold the former things long ago. My mouth announced them, and I made them known. Then suddenly I acted, and they came to pass. For I knew how stubborn you were. Your neck muscles were iron, your forehead was bronze. Therefore I told you these things long ago. Before they happened, I announced them to you, so that you couldn't say, 'My images brought them about. My wooden image and metal god ordained them.'" Before this chapter, there's been page after page in Isaiah where God told the people how pointless it was to worship images made of wood or bronze or whatever. It was ridiculous to worship images made by craftsmen. Images that couldn't even move their own hands, let alone do things for men or women. It's just ridiculous to say, "My images brought them about. But my wooden image and metal god ordained them." It was ridiculous to claim idols could achieve anything, and it was even worse to attribute to idols what God had done, what God had even announced beforehand, what he had ordained. Completely wrong of people to say, "My images brought them about. My wooden image and metal god ordained them." But they did say that. Okay, we don't worship images anymore, do we? So how is this passage relevant to us? And what's it got to do with thanking the Lord? To me, it's very relevant. The point is that we, just like the ancient Israelites, can find other things to account for what God has done. Especially if God has used other things or other people to achieve his purpose. We can, and we do, attribute the answers to his instruments and praise them instead of thanking God. Let me give you an example. I play the organ with my feet as well as my hands. My feet were getting damaged. I asked for prayer. Then I attributed the healing to a change of footwear rather than the Lord who gave me the wisdom to use this new footwear. We are particularly prone to making idols of God's instruments rather than praising him and thanking him. We're delighted with the skill of the GP in diagnosing a problem so soon. We praise the skill of the surgeon who took it out, almost idolizing him. It's too easy to forget that we asked for the Lord's help and peace. He helped us, and he gave us peace. You see, he doesn't always act completely alone, just like that, without using some instrument or person. I'd like to suggest the opposite. Very often the Lord uses other things or other people to achieve his purpose. So the Lord deserves our praise and thanks, however he has answered our prayers. Thank you, Lord.